Hi guys, thank you for
Hello.
joining us.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Evening, James. Evening, Vimi.
Evening.
Hi, I don't know if we so I'm just waiting to see if we are live, which we are. So I'm hoping that everyone can hear us. Thank you for joining us. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Vimi and I'm from My Solution Wellbeing, and we have Gurbinder and James here with us. James, would you like to introduce yourself? Just quickly say hello.
Yeah, hello. My name's James.
Hi, and Gurbinder?
Hi, I'm Gurbinder. I'm one of the counsellors from My Solution Wellbeing, and good evening, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. So, James, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself and what life was like prior to anxiety?
Yeah, I was working sort of a lot, 10, 12-hour days, doing too much really, 7 days a week, always on my feet, never taking time to rest. I was at auctions every day, so it was all over the country, so it was just a hectic time of my life.
James, did you ever struggle with anxiety before March, before COVID?
No.
Were you in good physical health? Was there any kind of struggles or any kind of...
Yeah, obviously life has its own pressures, doesn't it? So yeah, there's been a few ups and downs in life, but nothing that can compare to what happened when I got not well.
And what happened? Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, well, I got unwell and sort of went to the doctors, and which I don't do anyway, and it just wouldn't seem to go away. I had a doctor around, said he'd take me to hospital at that time, but you know, because of what was going on, there's probably no point. Then I had a few doctors like diagnose what it could be, what it might be. It could be this thing going on in the world. It could be gastroenteritis. It could be this. It could be that, which I think led to a heightened sense of what is actually going wrong, what is actually up. Didn't seem to shift for a good few weeks.
Were you at home then, James?
Yeah.
So were you bedbound and were you physically...
Yeah, for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Sort of getting up. Did go out.
Yeah.
When I did, my sort of brain felt like it was bloody bubbling.
Yeah.
So I just stayed in, basically.
And what did you think it was at the time?
Something quite serious, because the way I was feeling, it was really, really, you know, it just sucked the soul out of me, kind of thing. It was a struggle.
You didn't expect it?
Sorry?
You didn't expect that?
No, didn't expect it, and sort of had bloods taken, bloods come back fine. I went and had a bone marrow check and everything else, and everything come back fine.
What kind of symptoms were you getting, James?
I was hot, very hot, burning up, then shivering, shaking, uncontrollably shaking, headaches, dizziness, feeling sick, going toilet a lot. So yeah, quite a few different sort of symptoms to try and manage, and obviously talking to people in the NHS and on the doctors and stuff like that. I think in some way made it, I'd say, heightened worse, because when I was talking to some, they'd say, "Oh, you could have this, or you could have that." So it wasn't a clear direction and on what it was. So then that left the imagination to run wild a bit. So I think that could have triggered off all the rest of the other stuff. Then I started to get better. Went back, doctors had more blood tests taken because it just wouldn't shift. Constantly feeling sick. Went back to the doctors, more bloods, they came back fine. Then spoke to a mental health nurse that said she possibly think it's anxiety.
Okay.
Which I think that then led the ball rolling on
what did you know about anxiety before that?
Nothing. Obviously I felt, everyone's been in a moment in life where they felt anxious, You know, I'm not any different. But as far as to understand what anxiety was, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it could make me feel how I was feeling.
Well, how were you feeling?
At times felt like today's the last day.
Quite debilitating, that, isn't it?
Very.
Yeah, sounds quite hard.
So the physical symptoms were pretty predominant and pretty strong.
Very intense.
Yeah.
As far as it would take over your life and it will destroy it if you let it.
And how did you manage those? What happened after that?
After that, I sort of started to looking into mindfulness. Instantly started to meditate. I didn't really see a benefit of meditating I mean, it was great at the time but as soon as I stopped the meditation, it sort of, the feelings would come back. So it's like I just wanted to stay in meditation every day, all day.
Yeah.
Respite, I guess, isn't it, from the thoughts and the things that are going on in your mind?
Yeah. And obviously the intrusive thoughts and body sensations that you tend to run with and tend to create I'd say a picture. A thought would come in, you'd then draw out the story in your mind, and that would lead to heighten of senses of anxiety, you see. So I think for anyone going through it needs to understand that, stop drawing out stories. I've done a lot of tactics on reframing my thoughts, and actually it's just in one sense it's a lie. Anxiety is a lie. There is no truth to some of the feelings or the thoughts that you're having.
Yeah.
But because they seem so true, it seems to, you make stories up in the mind of, they must be true because I feel X, Y, and Z. But in actual fact there is no truth to it.
You know, while you're having these stories, did you get physical sensations while these stories?
Yeah. It was both. It was like the physical sensation would come, and then after that would come, then the thought would come, and then the train would start running, if you like, and then everything else would start to play out into scenarios, hypothetical scenarios of, oh, this has happened, this is what's going to happen now. Once I learned to control them and sort of reframe, because if someone's saying every day that you're not going to be here today, this is the last hour you're going to be here, and if every day it's telling you the same thing and it's not happened, then I sort of pulled my thought process together and went, well, this has to be a lie, because every day it said this and every day I've been here. So it was just about the subconscious mind being, it's there to protect you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a protection mechanism in everybody, every human being. It's a protection mechanism. Until I started to break it down into sections and understand that it wasn't there to harm me, it was there to protect me, I then started to look at things a bit different, as far as to say, well, they're not harmful. As harmful as they feel and they make you feel, they're generally not harmful. It's just it's human reaction. We have a mind, we have a subconscious mind, and it wants to keep you safe at all costs. So, it will put your safety before happiness, and at that time I didn't understand any of this. I just thought, what is going wrong with me? Until I understood and I broke it down into sections to understand why this happens, and do a bit of research and obviously work with you guys.
So before this, James, you never had any kind of feelings or sensations like this in your life before?
Never, no.
So how old are you now, James?
38.
So 37 years before, there was no feelings of anxiety or anything.
No.
Suddenly being ill sort of triggered anxiety.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could be triggered on the basis of what's happening.
Yeah.
That could have been another sense.
So
Because
the COVID-19 situation.
Yeah, I mean, there's
impact with that.
With that situation, there's no clear direction. It seems like everyone's mix matching their words. There's too much mixed information. You don't know who to trust, who to believe. They're saying this, they're saying that, they're saying it's not harmful, they're saying it's okay. So there's just so much misinformation. I think if someone pulled some information together and sort of gave people more clarity on what is actually going on, what is happening, rather than fear tactics, then I believe that maybe I probably wouldn't have fell into that category of being so ill at that point, because that probably made me worse. Because
do you feel your anxiety was more health related or socially related?
it's health.
Okay, so it's more health related.
Yeah, it was more like I would have to eat certain foods. I couldn't eat this food, I couldn't eat that food, and if I did eat that food, I would then feel a certain way. Like if I ate cheese, for instance, I'd feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And after I realized it was all in the mind and it was all kind of an illusion in some way,
yeah,
I eat cheese every day now.
How did it impact your family?
Yeah, it was a very stressful time.
Yeah, it must have been quite
I
difficult.
think from my partner's point of view, obviously you would have to ask her, but if you've got someone you love, maybe that's going through certain things and in some way there's no direction on how this is going to change, how this is going to get better, that would be daunting for me in that situation. It was my loved one.
Yeah.
So I could probably understand it from her point of view as well,
So say if someone out there does have a loved one going through anxiety, what kind of advice would you sort of give them?
You mean like sort of like a family member that's going through it?
Yeah.
So family member explains to another family member.
Yeah. So say if you were,
I would say be very compassionate, be very loving, be very understanding. Don't pull yourself together, sort yourself out, because that don't help. It don't work. So loving, understanding, really, and support. Not to say I'm through the woods yet. I still have a couple of things going on as far as anxiety is concerned, but I feel I'm on the mountain now. I'm climbing, and I'm more than halfway up, and I'm not going to turn back now. So I feel very positive about the next steps of my life and how we're going to move forward. Nothing's going to debilitate me to the point of. It's been an eye opener in some way.
Has it changed you as a person?
Yeah, it definitely has. Definitely.
In what way?
A lot more in touch with nature. I see things in nature now that I see beautiful. The sun setting, trees. I love to walk through woods. Things like that I didn't appreciate before.
I think that's a very mindful approach, isn't it? As well.
Yeah, I think time with the family, time with the kids. Which, because I was working so much, I didn't really spend much time with them. Watching them grow, it makes me so happy now. So I think it's changed me in a lot of ways for the good. If you said sort of 3, 4, 5 months ago, would you feel like this? I'd probably say no.
And I think a lot of people are resonating with you now, James, in terms of the comments that are coming through. Ali Ward is saying that she totally resonates with what you've said, and I think it's been helpful. And Antonio has said that it's really insightful, very interesting to hear about someone else's experience of anxiety. So I think it's definitely you speaking out. It's definitely supporting others as well.
Yeah,
How
I
do you cope with the feelings now when it comes up again?
Sorry?
How do you cope with sort of feelings of anxiousness now when things come up?
What I've learned to do, what I've learned to do now, I've learned to sit with them rather than fight them. I've learned to accept them as a part of me rather than trying to run away and trying to be like, this is not me, I'm frustrated with the situation, Yeah. So, I mean, yesterday, say evening, for instance, I had 2 minutes of a feeling. I sat with it and went, you know, it's fine. It's okay. There's times where I do have a few sensations here and there, and I do a lot of self-talk, which is basically saying that I love you, we're okay, and we'll get through this. We're on the right path. And I think then the sensation seems to go away because I show myself a lot of love and compassion now. And I think that is definitely a key to it as well.
So self-love and compassion is quite important, isn't it?
Yeah. And just realize that, you know, fear, because it was fear of getting unwell again, or fear of not being well, or just trust. I let go and just trusted in the universe to do its work. I trusted in the bigger power of the universe. It sounds maybe to others a bit like, well, a bit hippified or something, but
no,
I just let go and trusted in what will be. And in my meditations, a lot of meditations every day that I do, I tend to try connect to the earth's energy, to align to alert.
James, people listening out there, what kind of meditations could you recommend for people, and where would they find these meditations?
I would definitely. I only meditate with one person, which is from the mindful movement.
Okay.
I meditate with her meditations. I've done a lot of inner child meditations to help the inner child.
Where would someone find these?
They would find them on YouTube.
Okay.
Or the mindfulmovement.com.
Okay.
Great. Antonio says, well done, James. It's not easy to go on camera and share your personal journey with a new audience. It takes great courage and shows strength.
Yeah. Yeah, because what I tend to do now, I tend to, if I fear something, I do it. Because what I don't want to do is let fear run my life. So the things I was fearing before, I was fear of eating certain foods. I was fear of maybe going out to certain places. I was fearful of a lot of things. It's like fear just rushed into my life. So now what I tend to do is what I'm fearful of, I do.
Yeah.
We've got somebody that's just said that they wish they could heal as quickly as you. And I guess it's still a process, isn't it, of healing and that sort of thing. Have you got any comments?
How long's it? Sorry, go on. How long's it been? You've been struggling with anxiety. How many months has it been, and you've sort of worked through it?
I'd say about 8 months, 7 months. I think I got not well in March. I think it was January, February, March, sometime like there. But then anxiety come after that. At the time, I was having anxiety then. I believe I was, but because I was not well, it was like it took time for me to then get diagnosed, say, as having some anxiety issues. You know, it's quite real for people. It's not. Before I had a mindset was like sort of pull yourself together.
Yeah.
I completely changed my tact on that. Is completely. It can be completely devastating to your life.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, just I've learned now to just do things that I fear, and let me guide my inner child as if to say, we'll be fine, we're okay, and I'm running the show rather than being dictated to by fear. But the fear is only, I'd say, a good feeling. It's not a good feeling, obviously, but it's just there to keep you safe. And until you get to understand that and actually work with it, you'll then start to heal. But time, you know, time is the healer. Anyone that wants to heal in a day, which I did, and then I got frustrated because it wasn't coming the way I wanted it to come. So then I'd get frustrated with myself, and then I have really good days, and then I'd have really bad days, and then I never understood it. I felt, well, if I felt good yesterday, why do I feel like this today? So then that led to me being frustrated with myself, and that's where it can take longer to heal. You need compassion to yourself.
Definitely. And that's the thing. Ali's saying it's really hard for people to understand when you have anxiety. And Rebecca is saying it helps to know what anxiety is, education, and to actually realise it's okay and normal, because it's that fight and flight situation that we put ourselves in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think I had it really bad because the fight flight was on. It was like switched on. So it was not coming from my conscious mind, it was coming from my unconscious mind. So I'd have these feelings of panic attacks, anxiety attacks. Unbeknownst to me, there would be nothing in the room, but my fight flight would switch on. And it was like, why is this happening? You know, there's nothing here to harm me. And it was only till I started to really delve into that side of things is when I understood a lot more about it. So,
and that's the key, isn't it? Kind of facing something and thinking, right, okay, I've got to understand it now. It's not something to be fearful of.
yes.
What do you think, Gurbinder?
Yeah. What was counselling like for you? Because you got a bit of counselling and support around that as well. How was that for you?
It was. Yeah, I mean, I suppose everything's an eye opener, isn't it? Every new path that you take in life, sort of take what you can from it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still on a journey now. The journey's not over, you know.
Yeah.
But I refuse to let anything beat me, kind of thing. But yeah, I think I've had hypnotherapy sessions. I've done CBT. So, you know, different tactics that you can try and sort of, some people it won't work for, some people it will. But I think stop focusing on what don't work and focus on what does work. You know, I think you know what you're going through and you know what will help. And I think a lot of it's anxiety is an energy issue. I believe, knowing all that I know now, it's just an energy issue where you have energy built up in your body that you've not released and not let go of. Maybe a trauma, a relationship, or whatever it may be in life that we've not let go of. And it's okay to let go. It's okay, you know. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to, you know, forgive yourself, if you like, because it starts with forgiving yourself, you know.
We've got a question from Joe. How did you learn to recognise your anxiety early? I always find myself wrapped up in it before I know it's there, and mindfulness isn't helping. Have you got any kind of, is it just the feelings and the symptoms?
Yeah, the feelings and the symptoms. I mean, that lady that just said that, she'd probably realise that there's a symptom that comes and then maybe the thought after, or maybe the thought and then a symptom. So I think you've got to recognise which one comes first and just realise that it's a built up energy that you have inside of you that you need to release. And over time it releases. It doesn't release overnight, as I'm still finding out now. But I suppose I look at it now as everything's okay. So if I have a feeling, it's okay. If I feel a bit sick, it's okay. If I feel a bit warm, because I've got sensations where if I feel a bit warm, it'd be like, whoa, what's going on? And it's okay. And I will tell myself it's okay. And everything is okay. And I think the more time you train your mind with that, rather than drawing the story out, it can help you reframe the thought patterns in which you're having. So I think if you go, oh, I feel warm, and it's got to be something, you're going to lead yourself to the healing road will be longer. But if you look at it as, I feel warm, it's okay, I'm fine. And if you continually tell yourself that, it will resonate, you know. And take every good hour and the downsides of it, and take it all as the process rather than it's good or it's bad. If it is just, and just call it's just okay, it's okay, rather than look at it as it's good or it's bad or it's something, because we like to attach labels to things like we do. So I think what I do now, I don't attach a label to it. I just say it is and leave it at that, rather than, oh, it is this, and draw a story out. And the story will then create anxious feelings, and now the ball's rolling. So you've really got to understand to stop and think, just consciously. And it's very hard. I mean, I'm saying it, it's not easy. It is a real struggle. It's a real struggle. And especially when it's coming from the subconscious mind and it just hits you with a panic attack and you don't know why.
Someone's mentioned panic attacks, and I think, Gubs, you can probably talk about it later. But again, the comments that are coming in, really clear insight from Pav, really good for the various stages of the journey, and the strategies and what works for you. Nicola Emery saying, totally relate to what you're saying, wanting to heal yourself within a day after suffering.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
And I think, and I've always said to clients, and I've said to you as James when you come and see me, I said, this is not a 4-week healing process. This is something that's going to take a while, but it's about constantly working on yourself, constantly recognizing what's happening and finding different tactics to try and different tools to try and deal with anxiety.
Yeah, I think when you've had it and got it, or you're going through it, I think anyone in the right mind would want a silver bullet, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Until I actually come to the conclusion that there isn't one, that then let the pressure off as well.
Yeah.
Because I started to say, right, by this day, by my birthday, I'm going to be okay. By this day, by that day. And what that does, it puts unnecessary pressure on yourself to get to a point where you believe you want to be. And that then puts pressure on yourself. And it doesn't work like that. It just does not work like that. I wish it did. It takes time, and it's a process, and just be patient along the process and be loving to yourself, and really just listen to yourself as well. I go in a lot and ask what is wrong, is everything okay, can I do anything different? A lot of self-talk, a lot of relaxing music, meditation obviously is the key to my healing journey. Just look after yourself, basically.
Okay, so a last sort of message you want to give people listening today, James?
Oh, there's just so much. How long we got?
Go for it.
How long have we got? I mean, obviously, anyone that's suffering with it, I send them my love, and I hope they get better soon. Just let them remember that it's okay. It's all okay, and it will change. As bad as my days have been, there's been amazing days, and realize that a setback is not a setback. Actually, a setback is a sign to say you're actually healing. As weird as that sounds, it is a sign that you're healing.
There's something you said to me, James, a few weeks ago. You said to me, it's not permanent, so don't accept it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's key.
Do you want to just let the viewers know what that message was?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think at that weekend I went away for the weekend, didn't I?
Yeah.
I think I came back from a weekend away, and I was out with the children. I was out on the bikes, biking, and I was in the woods, and I was driving the bike, and there was a tree, and I used to climb trees as a kid, so I pulled my bike over and started climbing the tree, and I looked down at some leaves on the floor, and it was just something came to me then, as if I seen the leaves and they weren't green. There was like, rustic colours, yellows, and I remember me saying it to you.
Yeah.
And I said to you,
I went through the park, and remember I said to you behind the museum, I was just standing near the leaves, and I thought similar thing. Everything's changed.
Everything changes.
We spoke about that.
Yeah, we spoke about that, and I think that was like an epiphany moment in my mind, as if to say, "Wow, these were green a couple of months ago, Now they're yellow and brown and green, you know, and all these different colours. And I thought that's a symbol of change.
Yeah.
Nothing stays the same, does it?
I mean, the seasons don't, do they?
No.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think we can stop fixating on it being tough today and tomorrow's going to be tough. I think for anyone out there as well, set an intention. So set an intention and maybe do a meditation the night before. Get an intention in the mind for the morning, how tomorrow's going to go. Rather than it's going to be the same as today. Because it will be, if that's your attitude, you know. So I think you've got to set your intention. As I set my intention and say, today's going to be brilliant. Tomorrow's going to be brilliant. And if it don't go brilliant, it is what it is. And I just tend to live with it and roll with it. But it tends to be quite good because I say to myself, it's quite good. And I'm at that place in my life now, and maybe on this healing journey that I'm on, that I can say tomorrow's going to be good, and it does turn out to be good. Because I'm at that place where I'm taking full control of what's going on. You know, it's not easy to take control, but you can get there. There is hope, and I just send everyone my love that are going through it. And you know, I wish I could heal everyone. You know?
Get support as well. People should talk and get support.
Yes, definitely. Talk and get support. You know, and just trust yourself, you know, and be less judgmental on yourself as well. You know, rather than say, you know, this is what it is. This, you know, we tend to be too hard on ourselves. We've just got to ease up and not be so hard on ourselves.
Okay, thank you, James, for that last message to everyone.
Yeah, everybody's sort of seeing how amazing you are and how you're an inspirational person.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to. If I could help anyone, I'd love to. I mean, if that, you know, if I could change one person's life tonight, it would be amazing for me.
I think you have. I think that people are saying that there's self-talk and those thoughts and reframing, and that's a good tip for somebody as well. So
yes, definitely. Well, I found it worked for me, and I was at a dark place. So anyone in that dark place, start the practice today, and in the future you will overcome it, you know.
And Rebecca is saying that it's a coping strategy. Sometimes it's a strategy that keeps us safe until we start to feel unsafe and not really know what was happening. So we find new coping strategies, and it's a difficult journey, but as you've shown, you are going through it and you are beating it. So that just means to
yeah, I think maybe say beating it is probably not maybe the word we should be using. I think working with it. I think because that becomes then a fight, doesn't it? When we're beating something, I think the whole structure in which you should approach it, but with is I'm working with it, because that's what we need to do with it. We need to work. You know, it's turmoil in the mind, in some sense, the body, the mind, and a lot what we do we fight against it, and it's about working with it rather than fighting against it. That's where the healing process will happen as well. But yeah, beating it is a good. I mean, I am beating it, but I'd like to say I'm working with it. I'm working with it.
You're working with it. Sophie Chantal, your advice has really helped me. Thank you. Really beautiful insights. I think there's lots of people that are just finding it a very inspirational story. I've got one question, Gub. What are the early signs of anxiety attacks?
I think early signs of anxiety attacks is usually when you start recognizing certain sensations in your body that are not usually present. It could be having stomach cramps. It could be having your mind feeling quite overwhelmed by even wanting to go out, and you don't want to go to certain events. When it comes to health anxiety, it's constantly worrying about how you're feeling. So when you're feeling you're not well, you've got a sniffle or a cold, straight away you're Googling, looking at signs, thinking, what is this? And you're constantly chasing and trying to find answers. That's when you start. Those are the early signs. Signs could be also stress triggers anxiety. This is something really important to remember as well.
Definitely.
I want people to understand that stress triggers anxiety. In case in James's situation, it was stress and being ill as well. So having those two combinations really triggered his anxiety. So stress is something you want to try and avoid in life. So if you are going through stressful situations, this is what we don't do enough in life, is de-stress. So as much de-stressing we can do, is that's what we want to focus on. Like James says, the mindfulness, the meditation. Now, there's loads of apps out there like Headspace. There's My Possible Self. You can go on YouTube, the mindfulness movement. There's loads on YouTube as well. So start focusing on them. Also, I would say if you suffered trauma or you've gone through a bad relationship breakup or you've had some family issues, get some therapy as well, get some support. That's where us guys are here to support you guys as well. So do get that support if there's trauma and relationship breakups as well. Those kind of things can be just sitting there subconsciously, and when you go through stress, it triggers all of it. So that's something to look at as well.
And what would you say to somebody that sort of has anxiety, Gubs, and sort of what is wanting to come through to counselling?
I think reach out, talk to people, reach out, make that call, get that support. Only you can change it. This is why I always say to people, you're in control to change that situation. Either you can accept and go through every single day struggling and letting it drain you and let it take over your life, or you say, actually, I'm going to change and I'm going to actually take control of it. It's about taking control of the situation as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Nicholas, I think it's very important for more men to be as open as you are. Yes, the correct terminology always helps. Love and light in healing to you all. So that's very good.
We don't get many men who actually talk about anxiety, because men seeing being vulnerable and being open as being a weak thing, actually, but actually talking about it. And James has been very brave today and very inspirational to actually come and talk about it. And it's amazing. I'm hoping you can reach out to other people who can actually access support. There's so much support out there. It's just about you guys accessing it and picking the phone up and getting that support. Instead of allowing it to take over your life, make sure you do something to change it.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And know that you can beat it or work with it.
That's it. Let's work with it. That's a better phrase, to work with it and to control it.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think working with it is the only way, because then you seem to be a lot more compassionate with yourself. And I think that's where it definitely starts, rather than you going, oh, I'm feeling like this again. Oh, my God. Then it just snowballs and keeps going and keeps going. You've got to say enough's enough and change. I had to change. I had to, a year ago, if you asked me would I meditate, I'd be like, no, I'd be out working. I've got exercise regime I do. I exercise a lot now. So there's so much I do now different.
But don't you feel we're not compassionate to ourselves? We struggle as human beings to be compassionate to ourselves and show ourselves that self-love.
Yeah, I think sometimes as well we show it to more people. We show the love or
to
the
others.
compassion to others rather than yourself.
Yeah.
And love starts with yourself, which I found out. So love yourself, then you can love others as well.
Some of us can love ourselves a bit too much, can't we?
Yeah, egos. Let the ego down as well, because the ego can stop the healing process as well. You've got to let the ego, and you turn into a new person. This is a new journey for you.
I think being vulnerable shows an element of bravery, and I think there is great strength in being vulnerable as well. So and accepting it as well, and thinking, actually, I can just go through this, and I'm going to be okay.
I think men are scared of being vulnerable. I think men particularly scared of being vulnerable, because we as men see vulnerability as being weak, being not so strong. But actually being vulnerable is probably one of the most strongest things you can do, because that's the only time your guard comes down and you let people in. But I'll only advise people to be vulnerable with the right people.
And I think as well that's a time where you can grow as well, also as a man.
Yeah.
Turn into a better man.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you got your guard up all the time, you're never going to learn. You're never going to grow. So I think
it's being vulnerable with the right people.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And allowing yourself to grow.
Yeah, allow yourself to grow. Yeah, and if there's negative people in your life that are around you, just detach from them for a bit. You know, get yourself on track where you need to be, because a lot of negative can bring you back down as well.
Yeah.
So,
Vim, what's the last word?
So basically, I think you've been absolutely inspirational, James. Thank you very much, and Gubs as well. You know, it's been a fantastic way to show people about how to work with anxiety. My Solution Wellbeing, we're a Wellbeing and Counselling Service. And did you want to just say a bit about what we do, Gubs?
Yeah, we're a counselling and wellbeing service based in Leicester. So anyone out there who is struggling with anxiety or any other kind of issues, visit our website. It'll be on our page, and also like our page as well. And we're going to be doing more shows around different subjects and, you know, different people. This is about real lives and real stories. This is a real story about a real person, and actually reaching out to people to show that actually this is the truth about anxiety. Even though James never experienced anxiety for 37 years of his life, at some point it came into his life when he least expected it as well. So anxiety can hit anyone. So I want people, the message I want to get out to people is actually talk and get that support as well. Actually reach out. We're based in Leicester. We're doing online sessions. We're doing by phone. So contact us. If you're struggling with anxiety, we're here to help you and want to support you guys.
And I think it's about knowing that you're not alone in this. I think there's lots of things going on. There's COVID, that, like you say right at the beginning, about the pandemic, and about sort of not knowing where we stand. So I think there's a lot of change that's happening in the world consistently, a lot of change that's happening in our lives, and a lot of uncertainty. And I think it's important just to kind of roll with that as well. We do help with BPD, yes, we help with depression, anxiety, stress, and I think we're going to do a series, Joe, of lots of different mental health areas. So that's something that we can support people with. But I just wanted to say thank you very much to you both for coming on today.
Can I say one last message? I want people to also remember, if you've got a roof over your head, you've got a job, and you're looking after your family, there actually isn't anything to worry about in life. Just try and work on being happy as well. You know, actually be happy. All the pressures in life are usually built from ourselves and from within. So try and work on just actually being happy as well.
Yeah, and we could do something around that as well, couldn't we, as well? But thank you. I think that this is going to start with a lot of topics of conversation now. So I want to thank you both for coming on. And if there's anyone that's got any questions, please let us know. Drop us a line. We can answer them. We can even do a question and answer session about this. Share it with family and friends, because I think this has been very inspirational for all of us, myself included, just to get more of an insight into things. Everyone's saying thank you, and thank you to you both.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. God bless.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.